Hey guys, it's Jenna G. It has been such a long time, but I decided to cook some dal and rice, some stew chicken, some dashin bush bhaji, some mother-in-law and cucumber chow. And I decided to film it to bring you all along on this cooking journey with me while I prepare this delicious meal. So let's jump into it. I usually multitask, so when I'm cooking, so more than one thing. So first thing I'm going to be doing is putting the split peas to boil because it can take some time. In goes some salt, some chopped up onion, garlic, hot peppers, pimentos, and of course we can't forget that saffron powder for that nice color for your dal. Just going to let this boil down until it's nice and soft, and in the meantime I'm going to be preparing some green seasoning for my stew chicken. So once I've made my green seasoning, I'm going to be seasoning up this clean chicken that I have here, and also add in some chopped up onions, some hot peppers, pimentos, some this MSG free all-purpose seasoning from GGM products. And I'm doing something different. I'm adding some ketchup now to it. This is not how I would have prepared my stew back in the day or before, but now I started adding the ketchup to the meat. Before I would have added the ketchup to the pot when I'm browning the sugar, immediately after browning the sugar. But over time we changed, and I've noticed that a lot of my cooking now is slightly different and from the way that I would have prepared stuff before. So that's one of the fun things about cooking. You can change up and it's still all good and well. So you can let the meat marinate if you have time. If not, we're just going to jump into cooking it. So I'm going to be adding some of this chosen foods avocado oil to my pot to stew, and I'm going to be adding some brown sugar to the pot. Constant debate, oil when stewing or no oil, that is up to you guys. The next step is quite crucial when making your stew. If you leave it too long, you're going to burn the sugar and you're going to get a very bitter taste in your mouth. So you have to be very careful with it. One trick that my grandmother would have told me is to keep stirring it on low medium heat until it forms or starts looking like a sort of cake batter mixture, and it gets that nice color, something like what you're seeing now in terms of the cake batter look. Once it reaches to this point, you're going to be adding in your stew, your seasoned chicken or whatever meat you are stewing. You're going to stir this up, make sure it gets nicely coated with all that nice caramelized sugar there. Going to crank the heat up on high, and the chicken is going to spring its own water, so you want all that water to evaporate before you go ahead and add some more chicken to the pot and let this cook, depending on the size of the meat, 20, 25, 30 minutes. 3/4 way through, I'm going to be adding some of this flavored by Jenna G stew chicken for some extra flavor in there. You guys have to try it out, and some green seasoning. Going to mix this all up and just let it continue cooking until there's enough gravy or sauce to your liking. Of course, taste for salt and adjust accordingly. For me, this looks perfectly fine. I'm turning this off and then jumping on to the next thing, which is finishing up my dal. So once these peppers are nice and soft, I'm using my hand blender. I'm just going to blend this all up, and then fun part now, chunking. Using the avocado oil, point them in a little pot, oil pan, and then adding in my garlic and my whole grain jeera. I'm going to be honest, this is one step that I used to eliminate when making dal, just because it was never a must. But I know a lot of people are going to say dal is not dal without a good chunky, and I think I have to agree now. Again, over time, I guess your taste buds just change. So onion going in there, whole garlic going in there, and whole grain jeera. And then in that sound is a must when you're making dal. If you don't get that nice sound or that nice smell of that garlic and onion chunking, I don't think you're doing dal right. But again, we all have different tastes, so all up to you. Setting that aside, and let's cook our dashin bush bhaji now. Into the oil, we're going to be adding the chopped up onions, the garlic, pimentos, hot peppers. And once it's cooked through, I am going to be adding my sliced up dashin bush leaves. I'm also using the stem as well, and I actually don't peel the stem. I know that's always up for debate as well, but I usually don't. And I don't usually add lime either, but I know a lot of people highly recommend that you do. To be honest, it has never really affected me in any sort of way in terms of scratchy throat or so forth. So you can do this according to your liking. So I'm just covering that down and let that steam through. Now, I usually like to add coconut milk to my dashin bush, but to be honest, husband is not a fan of it. So this time I'm not doing that. I'm just adding just a little water, cover it, and let it steam through basically. Up to me, I would have thrown in some saltfish and some coconut milk in there as well. when the dashing bush leaves and the stems are nice and soft, I am going to be using my hand blender again and just blend this up a little bit, just to sort of make sure it's nicely small and you don't have any chunks going or to bite on there. Final thing we're going to work on now is our mother-in-law, which is a spicy condiment consisting of some bitter melon or caraili, onion, carrot, hot peppers. I'm using the food processor that I did the green seasoning before, so there's still some green seasoning there, which is perfect. I'm adding everything else and I'm just going to process this. You can do it until everything is fine, or you can leave it if you like chunky mother-in-law. That is all up to you as well. So once we have it all nicely processed there, look how nice it's looking, mouth watering just looking at that. And all we're going to be doing is adding this to a bowl, and of course we're going to add some salt in it, and the most important thing, the lime juice. So squeeze in some lime juice in there, add your salt, some black pepper if you want, and mix that up, and you can set this aside in the fridge for a little bit to get everything nicely incorporated. So there we have it, guys. We made our dal, which now is must have to be chunkied. Before was not really necessary for me, but now dal always has to be chunkied. We also made our stew chicken. Something different that I do now is add the ketchup to the meat before throwing it into the pot. Our mother-in-law, well, that remains the same in terms of the level of pepper too. You can adjust that, feel free, make it spicy if you want. Made some cucumber chow. This kind of food to me always goes so well with cucumber chow. Like, I can't imagine eating dal and rice now without cucumber chow. Not just cucumber on the side or salad, you know, it must be cucumber chow, and even better if I add in some onion chow in there as well. Now I prefer to have my coconut milk in the bhaji, but before I would not have made it an issue, but now I must have coconut milk in there. And that is it now, guys, for my lovely meal today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below what you do differently from me, how your style of cooking or taste has changed over time, and it's all good. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's been a while, have been very busy, but nevertheless I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching, and might see you guys sometime again in another video.